If you're like me, you spend a lot of time every day following the news, reading about what's happening in the country online. Some days it feels like America is sliding toward just an inevitable pit of darkness, and there's nothing that we can do about it. Trumpism is just advancing nonstop. Authoritarianism is not waiting politely on the sidelines. In fact, if anything, it's advancing through ICE raids and voter suppression, attacks on women and LGBTQ people, book bans, gag orders, deportations, and more than anything else through fear. And when you care deeply about this country, about your community, and about democracy, it's tempting to think, in the face of so much bad news, what's the point of anything that I do? It's too big, it's too entrenched, and it's too late. But here's the thing: fascism thrives when good people hesitate, and democracy survives and actually can become strengthened when good people act. So I want to let you in on a little secret here today. You don't need to do everything. You don't need the whole roadmap of how you're going to make the world better or save democracy. You literally just need to do the next best thing. Just take one more step in the right direction. Because when thousands of us do that together, we change history. By the time we're done here today, you'll see why action, even just a small action, matters more than you might think. You'll hear exactly why waiting for the right time to act is what authoritarianism counts on for its advancement. And you'll walk away from today's video with clarity and inspiration to do something today. Not someday, not tomorrow, today. If you're new here, my name is Elizabeth Cronise McLaughlin. I'm a lifelong activist, former Wall Street and human rights lawyer, and for the last 15 years, I've been working with leaders just like you to help them figure out how to make the most difference that they can, consistent with their gifts. You could be next, so stay tuned. So first, let's talk about why action is the antidote to where we are. Fascism counts on fatigue. It counts on people looking away. It counts on us being too tired, too discouraged, or too busy even to step in. And that's why the most radical thing that you can do in this era is simply to take an action. Because every action that you take, no matter how small, in furtherance of justice and making things better, disrupts the machinery of authoritarianism. And in fact, when we look to examples, history actually proves this. Some of the biggest civil rights boycotts did not start with a full-scale blueprint. They started with 4 people sitting at a lunch counter or a few people deciding not to ride a bus. It started with people simply making a decision in a given day to not participate in the system of oppression. Similarly, suffrage movements over time didn't succeed because everyone knew exactly how they would end. They succeeded because people organized, lobbied, marched, persisted, one action at a time. The same is true right now. As I say many, many times to our clients and to our audience, action is the antidote to despair. It is how we reclaim agency, and in the long run, it's how we win. And if you're not sure what your next step should be, I've got you covered. First, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, where every week we offer videos that provide you with advice and support on how you can fight back right now and make a difference in your own community and around the country. And then I want to invite you to download our free guide, How to Make a Difference Right Now, using the link below. It's packed with practical, meaningful advice that you can use right now to help you start making a difference, no matter your time or resources. So what does action look like when the threat is this big? Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's not the way it looks in the movies. It's not like there's one person who lays their entire life on the line to help save democracy and suddenly becomes the hero. That's not how any of this works. And in fact, one of the dangers of this era is waiting for a charismatic leader to rise to tell all of us what we should do to fight back. First of all, there are no perfect leaders, and those kinds of leaders only exist in very rare instances. And second of all, if we sit around waiting for the right leader to rise to meet the moment, we may end up doing nothing and thereby acting in ways that allow fascism to really take root in this country for the long haul. So here's what action actually looks like in forms of resistance that we need right now. It looks like ordinary people making extraordinary commitments in ordinary ways. Let me give you some examples. A neighbor starting a mutual aid group that volunteers to go pick up prescriptions for people who are afraid to leave their homes because of ICE raids is one example. A teacher speaking up at a school board meeting about the importance of making sure that her LGBTQ students feel protected in the classroom. That's another one. A group of young people raising bail funds online, $5 at a time, until they have thousands available to free protesters who have been arrested. Or even a local activist opening her home for organizing meetings when there's no other safe space around. These may seem like small gestures, but in the long run, when they move together, they create radical change. And yes, of course, action also looks like showing up to march, canvassing, volunteering, engaging in conversations with your neighbors, and when the time is right, voting. But it also looks like much smaller things right now. Convening gatherings where you can talk about what's happening in your neighborhood and how you can make it better. Showing up for city council meetings to find out what types of ordinances are on deck where you live, and most particularly whether or not your local officials are collaborating with ICE. Doing small things in conjunction with others makes a massive difference right now. And this is simply about taking the next best step. Small actions add up to movements, and movements of people working intersectionally for the same purpose. You know what they do? They topple whole regimes. So if you're telling yourself that your one small action where you live doesn't matter, I want you to flip that script, because your one action could be the spark that lights a fire in your community, in your state, and eventually across the country. Let's talk now about the cost of waiting versus the power of now. Okay, here's the hard truth, and we all really need to face this one down right now. Waiting in this moment is actually dangerous. Every time we tell ourselves, I'll make that phone call later, or I'll organize that meeting in 2 months, or I'm going to wait until the next election cycle, or even when I just have more time, authoritarianism gets stronger. The people who are running our country are not pausing while we try to figure out how to find the time to act. In fact, Trumpism is moving forward strategically, relentlessly, and every single day in every single state, which is why the best time to act is always now. Not perfectly, not with all the answers, not with every resource in place that you could imagine being necessary, but in fact, just now. Because here's what I've learned after years of working with leaders and organizers. The people who make the biggest difference are not the ones who have it all figured out from the jump. They are the ones who simply took one step and then another and then another. They did the next best thing. And over time, those next best things added up and became unstoppable movements. So here's my invitation to you. Don't wait in this era and don't hesitate. More than anything else, though, don't underestimate your own power. Do the next best thing you can do today. Take just one small step, the next best step in the direction of justice and freedom and a better country. Make the phone call, organize the meeting, show up to support your neighbors, speak out in your workplace. Make sure that you are taking at least one small step a day that actually makes a difference in people's lives. And I'm going to let you in on one small secret here. That's not about posting on social media, because fascism cannot survive when everyday people act with courage and persistence. It can only survive if we do nothing. Because here's the thing, history is watching us, and there are questions that we're all going to have to answer in the coming years. Did I take action to prevent the worst possible things from happening in this regime? Did I show up when people needed me to be a part of the solution? Did I do my part? Let your answer be yes. Do the next best thing. Take the next right step toward justice and freedom and survival and safety. And do it now. And if we all do that together, from the ashes of where we find America to be right now, we will build a better future for everyone. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.